Hey guys, and welcome to the Football Fix. This is a series in which I go over the things that have happened in the world of football over the last 7 days. Starting us off this week, we have Arsenal beating Fulham 2-1. As Saka got on the score sheet for the first time since his hamstring injury back in December 21st. He was seen running over to the medic team, giving him a hug, showing a nice little bit of appreciation for the people who helped him back. Waneri carried on his great form that he's had this season, having to step up after the Saka injury, getting an assist to Mikel Merino. That assist meant that him and Lamine Yamal become the two youngest players to reach 10 goals and assists in all competitions in the top 5 leagues this season. However, it wasn't all good for Arsenal this game, as an injury to Gabriel in the 16th minute meant that his season come to an end because of it, once again, hamstring injury. I know, it's ridiculous, another hamstring injury for Arsenal. His season's over, and it's quite unfortunate for him as he just cemented himself pretty much in the Brazil squad. Arsenal then went on to draw 1-1 against Everton. Now, what could happen after multiple Lewis Skelly controversial situations? Oh, would you look at that? Another controversial situation involving Miles Lewis Skelly. This was a foul on the defender that somehow went the way of Everton, giving them a penalty in which they scored. Let me know down below if you think it was a penalty or not, and let me know your reasons why. Moving on, we have NForest beating Manchester United after an incredible solo goal by Anthony Elanga. This goal shows once again that when you leave Manchester United, you do become a better player. Now, during this goal, Anthony Elanga went on to set records for this goal, and I'll have a little screenshot of him up there because I can't exactly remember what it was, but it's an incredible goal, and here's the video as well. Ipswich just about kept their hopes of not being relegated alive after their 2-1 win against Bournemouth, with goals coming from Delap and Broadhead. However, they went on to lose 2-1 against the team that's just above them in the table, Wolves, which means there's now a 12-point gap between the two. And in this game, Wolves had an indirect free kick. I mean, you know, you get an indirect free kick, and it's not very often. You know, you have many ways of defending it, but how did Ipswich want to defend it? Just pure incredible defending from Ipswich there. Surely that's got to be defence of the season. Speaking of relegations, Southampton are the first team to be relegated of the 24-25 season after their 3-1 loss to Tottenham Hotspur. Southampton just sacked their manager as well as the time of recording this, so, you know, it's a bit unfortunate for them. However, when you're setting records like they are 10 points in 31 games, you know, they're 1 point off the Derby record, I think it might be time to leave. And it also means that it's the third club that Aaron Ramsdale has been relegated with: Bournemouth, Sheffield United, and now Southampton. A little bit unfortunate, as I think Ramsdale is a better player than what, you know, the relegation stats show as, and I think he will get a move definitely to a top 6 club. Which one it is, I don't know, but I think he definitely deserves a move. Moving on, Aston Villa beat Brighton 3-0 with Rashford continuing his great form as well, showing that once again, you leave Man United, you do better. There's starting to be a pattern here, and I think you might be seeing that. Liverpool then went on to beat Everton 1-0 after Jota scored the only goal of the game. However, in this game, the big talking point was Tarkowski's foul on McAllister. It should have been a red card, even as an Arsenal fan, and as good as it was not seeing Everton get a red card. And, you know, I mean, they didn't win the game anyway, Everton, or anything like that, so it didn't really matter. You've got to admit sometimes when a red is a red, and the PGMOL later acknowledged that it should have been a red, which doesn't obviously change anything, apart from the fact that this league, once again, is just appearing to be the worst and worst and worst league when it comes to decisions. It's got to be sorted out, I think. You know, you can't be in 2025 and still getting decisions like this. Let me know down below what you think. VAR, should it be scrapped or not? Because it's not really VAR that's making these decisions. It's the referees behind them who are just incompetent. But, you know, let me know down below what you think on, you know, the PGMOL, the challenge and all that. And, you know, let me know down below what you think should happen. However, it wasn't all good for Liverpool as they went on to lose 3-2 to Fulham. Now, the 3 goals that Fulham scored were all scored within the space of 14 minutes. And what happens after their last game, when there's a bad VAR call? Another one happens.
I want to say Man, the first time was so nice, I had to do it twice.
VAR then confirmed it was just a natural coming together and was not reckless. And the call to be no penalty was right. What the hell? How does that make sense? You go from the Saliba challenge against Brighton, was it, I think, when he headbutted the ball and somehow headbutted him, and that was a penalty, but now this isn't a penalty. It makes no sense. Once again, another VAR mistake. It's just getting to the point now where the game is becoming unwatchable. And speaking of unwatchable, Manchester United and Man City played out a 0-0 derby. And however, the main speaking point of this game, before and after and even in between, was Kevin De Bruyne announcing that he was leaving the current title holders after 10 years. Now, a successful career winning 6 Premier Leagues, a Champions League, 2 FA Cups, and a bunch more trophies, all while amassing 106 goals and 176 assists at the time of recording this. The Belgian will be surely leaving the club, cementing his place as an all-time Premier League midfielders, along with the likes of Gerrard, Scholes, Vieira, Lampard, and of course there'll be a bunch more, like David Silva, maybe Yaya Toure if you want to include them. I'm sure there's more, maybe Beckham and all that. But, it will cement his place 100% in all-time midfielders that Premier League has ever seen. Moving out of England now, we have Real Madrid and Real Sociedad playing out an 8-goal thriller in the Copa del Rey semi-final. It was the 115th minute. Real Madrid get a corner, and who steps up?
Corner. Bellingham leaps, as does Rudiger. Real Madrid lead the tie again. This time in extra time.
Rudiger steps up from the corner to get in the back of there to send Real Madrid into the final of the Copa del Rey. They will go ahead and face Barcelona in the final, which means this will be the 8th time the two Spanish sides meet in the final. If Barcelona beat Atletico Madrid 1-0 or 5-4 on aggregate after a goal from Ferran Torres secured their win, sending them to the final. Now over in France, PSG have just won the French League, Ligue 1. Now, this title race was close as PSG were being hunted down and they just won the league after their 1-0 win against Angers. How many points behind were they? 22. Yep, that's right. PSG were 22 points ahead of the team in second after winning the league in the 7th of April. Well, they won it 2-3 days ago, and I'm recording it now in the 7th of April, but still 22 points ahead of the team in second. It just goes to show that PSG in Ligue 1 aren't the team that they think they are outside of the French league. Don't get me wrong, they're doing well in the Champions League this season, and I do think they probably will beat Aston Villa. And look, if we beat Real Madrid in the quarterfinal, then I think we beat PSG. However, if Real Madrid get through, I think Real Madrid beat them. I don't think PSG have it in them. I think they have maybe a couple more years before they can, I think, truly compete at the top level of European football. I just personally think that. I think Ousmane Dembele is starting to come into a little bit of form after getting quite a few goals and assists. Obviously, you've got Desire Doué doing really well. Kavica Kvaratskhelia, obviously, he's just gone there after a very good campaign at Napoli. But I just think they're a few years away from truly competing. Over in Germany, Leverkusen were knocked out of the German Cup, the DFB Pokal, after they lost 2-1 to 3rd Division German side Arminia Bielefeld, or however you want to say the name. That is an incredible moment for the team, sends them through to the next round, and it goes to show that these type of tournaments, anything can happen. When you've got 3rd Division sides in Germany knocking out, the current Bundesliga champions, that's what the game's about. Not the FA Cup when it's just now full of these top teams and none of these small teams have a chance. And it goes to show that these tournaments are what make football good, and it needs to continue. And eventually, it's happening in Germany and all these other countries, but I think if this type of thing doesn't happen sooner in England, especially at the FA Cup, then I think the small teams will eventually just not be able to do anything anymore. Now, in Brazil, Memphis Depay stood on the ball. Just a little bit of skill, nothing too major. However, the Brazilian Football Confederation has now announced that anyone standing on the ball will receive a yellow card and the opposition team will be awarded a free kick. Now, I don't know about you, but considering this is a country that's had the players, you know, of like the likes of Pele, R9, Ronaldinho, Kaká, Rivaldo, Fabinho, you know, all these skillful players that made kids and people want to watch the game, and it made them fall in love with the game. It just doesn't make sense, and to me it seems like some utter woke nonsense, and quite frankly the game is going, and it's not long, I don't think, until really football is no longer going to be the game that it still is now really not the game that we know it to be. And soon enough, I think, if nothing changes, then we're going to lose the game that we love, and quite frankly that'd be quite sad. And personally, I don't understand it. It's probably all to do with the higher ups and all that, and money, and wanting to control everything and it all to be robotic. Personally, it makes no sense, but hey, what can you do, you know? Now, for the final segment, we have our goals of the week. We have this first one with Anderson Talisca with his incredible volley outside the box against Trabzonspor. Next up, we have this incredible throwing goal from this Polish side, and I have to say, goalkeeper should be doing better. And finally, we have this incredible goal by Bernardeschi with an incredible bit of footwork against Lionel Messi's Inter Miami. But anyway, that's all for the football fix this week. Let me know down below if there's anything else that I maybe missed, or any other news stories that you want me to cover. Let me know down below as well, actually, if you want to see more of this style of content. I will be doing this every week, and also maybe some Football Manager as well. This was my first time doing it, so probably yapped on a little bit too much. But anyway, let me know down below, and I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.